What's up, everyone? This is Sahil here, and welcome to the Sahil Sehgal Show, where I'm gonna be interviewing some crazy entrepreneurs out there who started from scratch with no experience, resources, and connections, and then later on became unstoppable and dominating figures in their respective businesses. We're gonna dive deep into the mindset of these super successful entrepreneurs to find out how they did it and how you can model it too. It's time to pick their brains and uncover all the strategies and tactics which these entrepreneurs use to scale their businesses from nowhere to multiple 6, 7, and 8 figures. Welcome to the Sahil Sehgal Show. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sahil Sehgal Show, where we interview some unstoppable entrepreneurs who are dominating figures in their businesses. And guess what? Who we have today on our show? The Katie Richardson. Katie is a mindset coach to entrepreneurs. She's a mom to four. She's a wife, an author, and a powerful speaker. She has been featured on some of the biggest shows like Ellen shows, Today's Show, and the cover of the Entrepreneur magazines. She has also coached some of my favorite entrepreneurs like Josh Forti, Kathryn Jones, and many more. So please welcome Katie Richardson.
Hello. Super excited to be here, Sahil. Thanks for having me.
Same here, Katie. Thank you so much for your time for coming on, and we're gonna make it super productive for everyone. We're gonna be sharing your story and gonna be talking a lot about the mindset stuff, which your main expertise is in.
Yeah.
So, Katie, I want to start with before Katie was an entrepreneur, what kind of life she was living, and what made you to jump into this entrepreneur field?
For a long time, I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur. I know there's a lot of people who are like, had lemonade stands. I did. But I was just a very curious young child. I was curious about the world. I was curious about the world around me. I was curious about the people around me, how they operated, like what excited them, what they were interested in. And so I think that skill of curiosity and searching and seeking has helped me to discover a way to build an incredible business and an incredible life. And I think to me, that's the ultimate. Like, that's what I wanted when I first started my business. I immediately had this fear that what if this explosively growing business begins to destroy the other things in my life that really matter to me, right? My spouse, my kids, my relationship with God. Like, I started to have that fear because I couldn't see anybody around me who I felt had kind of mastered those important categories. In fact, it seemed like I saw a lot of examples of people who had sacrificed everything for the success of the business. And the sad truth is the business doesn't care about you. And so like, I wanted that success. I wanted that reach. I wanted that influence. I wanted to get my magic out into the world, but I wanted to do it alongside my husband and with my kids with me and create an incredible opportunity for all of us. So this is what I'm known for. Like, do I know business strategy? Yes. Have I literally built and sold into 2,000 stores in the US and have distribution in 26 different countries? Yes. Have I built a multi-million-dollar business that I then sold, a business that had me featured on the Ellen Show, the Rachel Ray Show, the Today Show, cover of Entrepreneur magazine? Yes. And like, do I have a life that I love, that excites me, that energizes me, and that creates incredible opportunities for my husband and kids? Yes. Like, that's what I do.
Amazing. That's amazing. Super awesome. And I love the part where you mentioned about that the other things people, when they jump into this entrepreneur world, they sacrifice their family, their kids, spouses. And that is the most important thing. We start this business to have some freedom so that we can give our precious time to these people. But then at the end of the day, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs get into this stuff and they're working more than 24 hours in a day and
Yes.
ended up losing all that stuff. I want to know, Katie, like,
Can I help you see why this happens? Because it happens
Sure.
without people even realizing it, almost until it's too late. And it's because we have this belief. And the belief says, I've got to hustle. I've got to make this business work at all costs. And someday it will all be worth it. And that, Sahil, sadly, is a lie. Because when you build the business on that mentality, the business requires that mentality, right? It requires you to sacrifice everything for the success of the business, because that's what it's been. That's the foundation it was built on. And so this is what I help people do is we shift that foundation to align with your truth, to align with your values. So it's a lie that we believe that's not true.
Absolutely, which is very true. At the end of the day, if you are not again doing what you were supposed to come here to do, and you are giving that, I love that part where you mentioned that it's a myth that you have to first do everything, then one day it will happen like that. You will get automatically time. And I love the part when it's gonna be from the very beginning, at the very start. And you are already coaching some people on that. Some great, my favorite entrepreneurs, like I mentioned, Josh Forti, Kathryn Jones, and you are basically able to elevate their mindset plus business. So when you were transitioning, at what point in your business you felt like that? Because obviously you might have come across this situation where you were feeling, I'm not able to give the time to the family. At what point in your journey you felt that now it's the time I have to make a shift where I need to give more time to the family as well?
It actually was very early on. I was maybe in 25 different stores. I had 25 accounts. I was talking to sales representatives who did national accounts, and I was looking at growing the business. I was even considering, what if I went international with this? It was really early on that I could see that I was kind of being pulled in a lot of different directions. Actually, I have a visual for this. Let's show you this. I felt kind of frantic and pulled in lots of different directions, kind of like this, where it was just like I was being pulled in so many different directions. And if you take a circle and you start pulling it in all of these different directions, it goes nowhere, or it just explodes, right? And so I had to figure out how to live this kind of a life where everything that I was doing was in alignment, was in sync, and was all taking me to in the same direction. And so that meant lining up my personal life. It meant lining up my spirituality. It meant lining up my business, all to go in the same direction. And then that had me feeling centered, grounded, focused. And I could be in this place with the chaos of life swirling around me, which is what can happen because that's just reality. But I was centered. I was grounded. I was focused. I was clear. I was decisive. Now, did that happen overnight for me? No. The beautiful thing is I can teach it to people now, and it very quickly, almost like flipping a switch, can happen very quickly for somebody. But it was a process for me to kind of understand this and to discover it. And for me, it was very much a God journey. And I really believe that he taught me how to operate in this way.
That's amazing. That's so relatable. I can totally relate. It's so real that we all start with one thing, then we get into some of the other different things. We start, let's do this, let's do this. And at the end of the day, you're doing so many things, then you are not even, I'd call it as like, you're not even perfect in one thing. Plus, your life has become miserable. Like I quit my 9 to 5 job last month, and I was feeling like same thing. I went to so many directions, and I had to like have a vision where I'm looking at the clarity where my clarity is, where I'm gonna fit into the thing. And that's what your expertise lies in. And that's super amazing that you show that graphical representation. I love that part. It's super amazing. So
it's
Katie,
very relatable.
It's so relatable. Absolutely, 100%. You mentioned about that working with your husband in the business, right? A lot of people are scared to death to work with their spouses. Would you consider that you have cracked the code? And yes, of course you have had done that. Like, what made you crack that code?
It was a decision that I made. I love my husband. I love spending time with him. And it was honestly a big part of why I even built the business. He's a product designer. I'm a product designer. And over a Christmas break, we said, what if we designed a product that would allow my husband to quit his job, and then we could be together more? He wouldn't have to commute to work. Maybe work trips meant we were traveling together. And so for me, that was the ultimate, that was the dream. And like anybody, just because you're married to somebody doesn't mean you just get along all the time and that every conversation is peachy. It's not. But to me, those conversations, those difficult conversations, are an opportunity for us to ultimately grow, to connect, to better understand how to communicate, how to align, how to work together in a way where we're not doing this, but we're doing this. And so in a sense, building a business together was the best teacher for us in understanding how to have the kind of relationship that we wanted, that we dreamed of. And it provided opportunities and teaching moments for us to learn how to operate in this way. So I know that people, when they when they learn that I have and do work with my husband, they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, we're both committed to the same vision, for one, and we're both open and willing to work at it. It doesn't just come naturally. It's not just easy, but you have to be willing to work at it. And we're both committed to that. And so, yeah, now I feel like we have built an incredible business and life together over the last, we'll be married 20 years in August.
That's the beauty about a business, working together, having a same vision, and you are moving along in the same directions. I remember when my wife, I used to say to her, like, quit your job and let's work in this business together. But I think at the same time, you need that same vision, same alignment with your thoughts as well. And where do you see the impact that you can create in the world? That is also important. And if you both have that same clarity and vision, nobody can stop you, and then you become unstoppable in my vision, in my thinking. And that's what exactly
Yeah.
you did.
And to your point, Sahil, like, it was 2 years that I was building the business primarily on my own. He was working the day job because, somebody had to feed the family and pay our mortgage. And he was doing that. And we would work together on the business, maybe on weekends or late at night. But it's not glamorous in the beginning. It's just not. And you have to be committed to this long-term vision and be willing to put in what's required. And we made that decision, and we sacrificed, and we did it.
And you did it very well. Both of you guys did it really very well. I'm following you from last year. When RJ did an interview with you, I was there and I watched that. Like, I was really amazed by the story that you share, that you guys are working together and all that. I was like, that's what I want even in my life with my wife. One day we're gonna be doing. But at the same time, you have other things like mortgage. You mentioned same thing. I was worried about, if I have let her quit the job, then what happened if one day, 1 month in the business, because business doesn't work like job. It's not consistent income. Sometimes you have spikes in the business, sometimes you have lows in the business. And at that time, what would happen to our family if we have a kid now, moving forward? How are we going to feed that family? So when you were deciding that, who was the first, by the way, to quit that job? Was it you or your husband?
I quit my job as soon as we started having kids, and then I was freelancing from home. I was taking odd jobs as a designer. I was freelancing for companies like Hewlett Packard and Nike, and I kind of had a network in the design community. And so when jobs required extra designers, they would bring me in. And it was just kind of fun. It was a way for me to kind of keep up my skills and to continue to develop my network. But it started to reach a point where it was like, I'm giving some of my best ideas to other people. And I don't totally have control over my income and when I work, when I don't work. And so I wanted more of that freedom. That is what drove me to ultimately create my own business. I'm not somebody who, like, I mean, this wasn't even a thing back then, but I think it's relevant now. I didn't need the fancy Ferrari or the jets or the high-rise apartments. Like, that wasn't ever anything that appealed to me. I wanted freedom. I didn't want anyone else to tell me what to do, where to be, when to be there, what I needed to spend my time doing. I wanted to make that decision. And so ultimately, that's why I sacrificed and continue to sacrifice. It's because I want that freedom. I want to live where I want to live. I want to spend time doing what I want to do. And ultimately, I want to do the things that light me up, that excite me, that I really feel utilize my gifts and my talents. Did it happen overnight? No. Have I had to work and sacrifice and stay focused on that long-term vision and dream? Yes. Did it take high levels of discipline and commitment? Yes. Were there times when it was scary, frustrating, like I wanted to give up, like I was maybe even frustrated with my husband, or felt like what I was wanting, maybe that's too much and I'm dreaming too big and maybe it's impossible. Yeah, I had moments of that continually. But at the end of the day and consistently over time, I kept staying focused on that vision and that dream, that long term. And that's how I've been able to create what I've created.
Amazing. I love that part. Again, it's super impactful as well. You did all that stuff with the hard work, and most of the time we feel demotivated, we feel down, we feel like business is not going well. A lot of time, being a coach, I can also understand when my students reach out to me sometimes, say, Sahil, I'm feeling quitting. I don't want to continue this. It's not working for me. 1 month they have cracked $10,000, 20,000, and next month they are feeling down because again, it's a business. It's not a consistent income that you can predict in the business. It can go and up and low. At that point, Katie, when let's say when you have lows in the business, what is the one thing that keeps you motivated? What is the why for Katie to keep the motivated, to have that push? Is it some extra support, like you have a coach who were accountable, who were keeping you accountable, or is it just your personal why?
So in the beginning, for like a lot of years, my why was that personal freedom. My why was resources. My why was getting my ideas out into the world, into the hands of other people. And it's not to say that that's bad. It's not. Like, that was very motivating. It drove me to get out of my situation that I was in, which was I was living on food storage. I was grinding wheat. I was literally grinding wheat and making 4 loaves of bread a week to feed my family, because any money that I was getting from freelance jobs or even my husband's job, we were primarily pouring those resources into building our business. And so a lot of times in the beginning, your motivation is to get out of pain of your current reality. Once you get to a certain level, your motivation shifts. And it's no longer, I must escape my reality. The motivation becomes, I have been so fortunate and so blessed in my life. I have tremendous abundance. Now my greatest desire is to share that with others. I know what it's like to be frustrated. I know what it's like to feel like the small guy. I know what it's like to feel like I'm running into a bunch of dead ends. And then I also know what it's like to break out of that and to rise above and to experience things in life that maybe when in the beginning, I couldn't even imagine that being a part of my reality. And yet every day I'm like, wow, I'm like so grateful, so blessed, so fortunate. And I want more people to experience this kind of thing. And listen, I in no sense of the matter have arrived in my life. Do I have abundance? Do I have, like, I don't know if you can see this. I'm like living in an incredible place, right? I'm literally on the beaches of Puerto Rico, sunshine. I got turquoise waves rolling in, palm trees, but there's still things that I'm striving for in my life. And the way for me to achieve those things, Sahil, is to take what I've learned in my life and to share it with others. And so that's what motivates me. Is I know there are people like you and like everybody in this audience who has magic within them, who have tremendous gifts, talents, abilities that nobody else in the world has. Only you have that. And the only way that the world can experience that is if I or somebody like me helps you to have the resources, the systems, the processes, the belief that the world needs what I have and I must do what's required to get it out there. Like, that process of helping someone really become a rock star, to really come their greatness in the world, like, that lights me up, that excites me. And so that's my North Star right now.
It means you got blessed and now you are basically passing on, showering same blessings on other people, so that you can, it's no end of abundance. In short, you're saying Katie is not done yet, obviously.
I'm not done. And my focus is service in my life. Do I get paid for my service? Yes. Am I paid very well for that service? Yes. Am I creating a significant ROI for my clients in that process? Yes. It's an exchange of value. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you are giving, the return is more than what they are paying for, then the price doesn't matter, because the return is
It's very
again
irrelevant.
crazy. Absolutely. I have literally seen when Kathryn Jones shared the screenshot of her Stripe account, like they were having every time she had a call with you and she has like spikes in her business. That really pushed me. And I think that was also the reason I was taking coaches in my journey. Like I feel blessed that in my whole 2 years of journey of business, I never spent a day without a coach. And that every time I take a suggestion from a coach and every time they give me something, gold nugget or aha moment, I know my business blew up. And same thing happened with your students. How does Katie feel at that point when you see that, like, now it's not about money anymore, it's about impact and the blessings that you are able to give, not just to the person that you are serving, but to the whole family and indirectly to the whole world?
It lights me up. It really excites me. I too have opposition, frustration, struggle, fear, anxiety. And like I said, I have not arrived. I don't think anybody ever does. And if you do arrive in your life, that's kind of sad, right? Like, what are you going to do? Just like kick your feet up and just kick it until you die? I'm not interested in that. Neither are you, and neither is anybody in here. So, yeah, like what I'm focused on right now is providing opportunities for my kids, helping my clients, deepening my relationship with my husband, continuing to serve in my church, in my community. These are the things that light me up. And yeah, like I said, I have frustration. I have fear. I have anxiety. How do I manage those things? I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but it's through my operating system. That's what I'm teaching my clients. Because when it comes down to having the life that you want, there's one key thing that's going to get you there. And it's not a funnel. It's not hiring the right person. It's not even a coach. Like, a coach can only do so much. The thing that's going to get you to where you want to go is only one thing and one thing alone. And it is a powerful operating system. I call it the infinite power operating system, IPOS. Who you are being in the world, that is going to create your reality. I remember really early on, as a young entrepreneur, I met a man in my church congregation, and I'd heard this story that he had built a significant multi-million-dollar business and that his business partner stole it all from him, and he had to start over. And in my mind, his name was Walter. Everyone called him Wally. And I was like, poor Wally. And what I learned was not poor Wally. In that process of building a multi-million-dollar business, Wally had become the man who knew how to generate that significant wealth. And so very quickly, he recreated his business, only this time without the business partner. He didn't have to share it. He didn't have to answer to somebody. He didn't have to get this guy's approval. And in a way, he was now greater blessed because he fully owned the business. So Wally had become the guy who knew how to create significant wealth. And this is the game. When you become the person who knows how to create that business and the relationships, the life, then you become the CEO who has the ultimate, the business and the life that you love.
That's super amazing. And these are the things which needs every entrepreneur who is watching us, they need to keep this thing in mind. You need a life and a business at the same time. There is no point of just having a business when you don't have a life. There is no point of, I think, making $1 million when you don't even have a life. And that's what I'm a true fan of that. Sometimes people preach me, they say me, Sahil, I can help you to reach this. I was like, I don't want to compromise on my life. I can do it. I'm going to do it step by step. And the reason I am into this business, the reason I quit my job is because I want to have a freedom, not to have a miserable life where it becomes a money prison. I think for most of the people it happens, and then they don't know how to fix it because the time has gone, or they have came across so far in their journey. Now to look back into the stuff, it's not impossible, but it's hard. It's not hard when you have a coach like you, Katie, and then they can unsolve what the mistakes they have done, or what are the things that the knots that they have tied on. And that's where I think you came in and you help these entrepreneurs to get unstuck.
Yeah.
And from your story, Katie, I found that you started your journey with selling physical products, right? And then later on, of course, you were providing services like coaching, consulting. So in terms of which one you mostly enjoy and you feel satisfied with, if we compare both of them?
Yeah. When I sold my physical products business, I made a decision to put my skill set of design, which I'd already proven to myself and I'd won national awards with it. I took that skill set and I thought that I was putting it on the shelf to develop a new one. And what I discovered as I did that was my skill set of design is in me. It's who I am. And design is really understanding the process of creation. When you're creating something, whether it's digital or physical, there are two phases of creation. There's both the spiritual creation, which is, the sketch, the concept, the idea in your head that doesn't exist in reality. There's first that phase where you develop an idea, and then the process of taking that concept that only exists in kind of spiritual realm or in imagination, and knowing how to bring that into reality, to make it real, to make it tangible, and to have it exist. And that process that I developed as a product designer absolutely applies to what I do in my coaching. Like, is my information digital? Yeah, sure. But am I doing, in a sense, the same thing? I'm taking a concept and an idea, which is, what do you want? And I am doing, through my design process, I'm showing you how to make that reality and tangible. Yes. And so what's so incredible is it was kind of heart-wrenching to take my design skills and put them on a shelf and to move into a, quote, new space. But what I discovered in that journey was the application of a skill set that I had already developed and how it was absolutely relevant. And it surprised me. Like I didn't realize that it was still going to be required. But like I'm envisioning the conversations with Kathryn and showing her like, oh, well, let's define what you want and I'll show you how to create that. And like same with Josh, same thing. Like in the very beginning, I kept asking him that question, what do you want? Because he would talk to me and be like, well, should I do this? And am I supposed to do that? And would it make sense to do this? And I'm like, well, none of that matters until we understand what you want. What do you want? And he was like, what do you mean? What do I want? I'm like, what do you want? Because all of us want something. There's already a desire within you for something. And if you don't define that and you just start making things, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be satisfied. Even if you make $1 bajillion. I mean, we all know that person, right? Some CEO who made $1 bajillion and they're still not happy and satisfied in life. And I wasn't interested in that. And neither are my clients. Like they want that fulfillment. They want that completion in life and to be excited about what they're working on and how they're helping people. And so we've got to start by defining that. And then I show them through my design skills how to create that. So in the end, I didn't have to leave it on the shelf. Very quickly, it came off of the shelf. And so which do I prefer more? Well, it's the one that I'm living in right now. I look back at what I did in the physical products world, and that's so cool. It's so awesome. And it taught me so many incredible things. And maybe someday I'll create another physical products company. But right now, I'm in a space where I am doing things that have me reaching thousands, millions of people in a way that I didn't know was possible as a young designer. And so I'm excited about what's right now. I mean, on Monday, I'm doing an incredible workshop where I'm teaching my operating system. I'm showing people how to live this in their life. And like, it lights me up. I don't know if you can tell. I get excited about what's in my present moment. Do I appreciate and value what I've been able to do in the past? Yes. Am I leaning on that as like providing fulfillment today? No. Like I'm focused on what's right now in my present moment. I'm focused on creating that future vision and dream that I have for myself and my family and working on it right now.
It's amazing. Super. I can definitely feel that energy and momentum inside right now when you were talking about it. I literally have like goosebumps where it's a kind of different feeling when you are launching something and you're working on some product. And the most important thing you talk about, like the question, what do you want right now? A lot of people get confused or they don't know actually what do they want. People just say, I just want to make more money. What do you want to do with that? That is important. And then they were like blank. I also sometimes I ask this question in my coaching program. People ask me, Sahil, should I do this? Should I become a coach? Should I do freelancing? I was like, what do you want to be known for? That matters. If you're going to keep everything has money, even it's freelancing, even it's coaching, even it's selling physical product, but at the end of the day, if you're just making money, not enjoying being that a person who you become after making all that money, then you look back, you're like, this was not supposed to be done. Although I had this numbers money in my bank account, but what is it doing now? Because I didn't live the life that I was supposed to. And that's where I can totally relate to that. Like a lot of people get confused and they need clarity on. That's where coaches come into the play. And that's the beauty that you are helping those people.
Can I come in and coach that person who's saying, I don't know what I want?
Absolutely.
The first thing I want to say is when you make that statement, your brain says, okay, I'm done. And it checks out. And literally there's no path forward because you just made a statement. I don't know what I want. And so it's like, now what am I going to do? You need to change that statement into a question. Instead of making that statement, ask yourself a question. So yeah, what do you want? Maybe you don't know what you want. Stay away from that statement. Instead, shift to maybe what do I know I don't want? Maybe that's where you are. And honestly, I've been at that place. Sometimes we have so much stress, anxiety, pressure on us that we can't even see straight. And so if you can't see what you want to move forward, maybe you can see what you don't want. Are there things in your reality that you don't want? And you can start there and say, well, I don't want this stress. I don't want to have to deal with angry customers. I don't want to have to deal with, I don't know, shipping product or creating courses. I don't know, whatever it is. There's something in your reality that you know you don't want. And you can start pointing to that and say, okay, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want to be angry at my spouse, and I don't want to have to be working in the middle of the night, and I don't want to have to travel 4 times a month, whatever that is. Start literally making a list of the things that you don't want, because those things can then start to become a beacon for what you do want. Sometimes we have to transport ourselves to the future because we need to be able to set down all of the stresses of our reality. So can you take a moment, sit in your own little world, shut the world off, sit in your own little world, transport yourself to 3 years in the future. If you could go to 3 years in the future, go to your dream life, describe it to me. What does that look like? What does your relationship look like? How do you show up as a parent? What does your team look like? What are the products and services that this dream future are you doing? Can you get to that place where you go into the future and you get to begin to experience it? And then the question is, can you now come back to the now, to the reality, and say, okay, I've seen a small glimpse into my future, and I've seen both what I want and what I don't want. And there's a part of me that's afraid to claim that. Maybe that's part of what's getting in the way. But when you look into that future, can you begin to see some markers, mile markers along this journey that says, I don't know what that big thing is in the future, maybe, but can I see a few of the first steps and maybe the first vision of what does it look like 3 years from now, and begin to be so bold and courageous to begin to claim that I want X. And I want it for no other reason other than I want it. And then starting to reverse engineer that. This is what I'm doing with my clients. I help them reverse engineer that. So you have to learn to tell the truth of what you want. And then you need to have the tools for how to create that.
That's the gold nugget right there. I'm gonna also implement this stuff, Katie. It's really powerful. I while you were saying that, I was imagining all the stuff. What I want 3 years down the road. What kind of life I want to expect with my wife, with my kids, with my family, other family members, and all that. This is so powerful, guys. If people who are watching us live, do that activity, do that task, like on a piece of paper, on a Google Doc, just lay it down. You will gonna find an answer when you get confused about, I don't know what to do, I don't know if it's for me, whatever it is. And this is something really powerful, Katie. I learned that thing. I love that thing.
Yeah, you're welcome. And like my teacher self is dying because I just want to hop in and teach it all. And this is why people need to come to the workshop on Monday.
Absolutely. That was my next question gonna be, where people can find more about that workshop to become a part of that movement.
The fastest is just to go to go.katierichardson.com/workshop. You can find the link to that on my Instagram profile, which is katie.live. Just click the link. You'll see, I think it just says workshop. I've got multiple links, but look for the one for the workshop. Get signed up because there's limited seats. I don't know if and when I'm ever doing this again. Primarily, everything that I've taught has been to my 6-figure one-on-one clients. They make a huge investment. Again, it becomes irrelevant because they get the ROI. But I'm teaching it now to an audience. Right now it's free. In the future, I might even have to charge for it, but right now it's free. So go snag a seat, come learn how this IPOS can help you create the business and the life that you love, that you want.
Definitely, guys, go and sign up for that workshop. I'm going to be putting the link in the description of this video. You can go and find that link as well. And then I'm personally going to be there, Katie. That's my promise. I'm going to be joining that. I'm going to be, yes, absolutely. I want that thing. I want the feel. I want to learn more from you for sure. So any last thing, Katie, that you want to share with the audience before we round this show up?
Yeah. I had multiple experiences. Gets me emotional. Being an entrepreneur, it's really glamorous, right? It looks awesome and amazing. It's one of the hardest things you could ever do, honestly, because it really pushes you. It brings you face to face with yourself, and it's not easy to look at. And I could see really critical moments in my journey where I was ready to give up. I wanted to wave the right flag and be like, I'm just going to go do the easier thing that other people do, go collect a paycheck. Why am I pushing myself? This is really uncomfortable. And in those moments when I felt like I'd given it my all and I had nothing left to give, I'd lost belief in myself. It's hard to move forward in that moment. It's devastating. And fortunately for me, in those moments, I had someone who believed in me, whether it was my spouse, whether it was my kids, whether it was a coach, right? Somebody believed in me when I was full of doubt. So I want everybody who's watching to know that, one, I've been there. I know what that's like. And two, when you get in that moment, because you will, I want you to know that maybe we've never met, but I see you and I believe in you. So in that moment, when you're afraid, when you want to shrink back, when you're doubting yourself, you can say to yourself, Katie believes in me. And you lean on that. You lean on that and you move forward because the world needs you. Nobody else has what you have. I truly believe that. So lean on me. I believe in you. You got this.
Everyone watching, you got this message from Katie right there, right at the moment. She believes in you. I believe in you. We all, like, entrepreneurship is not an easy thing. I can feel that same feeling, Katie. It looks fancy, it looks shiny, but at the end of the day, it is, you have made this decision to come up and do something different from other people. You are not one of those people who are just sticking, or their mindset is stick to 9 to 5 and just go to the work in the morning, come back home, and then that's the only thing that you are doing. But you stepped into this entrepreneur world to do something different, and it's not going to be easy. As Katie said, it's fancy, but when you reach a certain point, you need to keep that level as well. You need to keep the balance between what you're gonna do, what's the life is, what's your family need most about. It's not just about you making, again, a lot of money. It's about the thing. Katie, I would say you are blessed soul. You have served the other people, like other entrepreneurs, to your best, and the life that you're living, it is kind of, I can proudly say this is my dream life as well. And I'm on the stage, I'm sharing, I'm trying to pass on the impact that other people have given me, and now I'm passing on to that, and then money becomes just as a byproduct of that thing.
Yeah.
This was powerful. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for people who were watching us live. I hope you got some value out of it, and make sure to go join, sign up for the workshop. I will definitely be putting the link out there. Thank you so much, Katie, for giving your time, coming onto this show, and making this show a blessed one. I'm really thankful to you for that.
Thank you, Sia. It means a lot to me, really. I'm honored to have been here and grateful to connect with your audience. So thank you.
You're welcome. Honor is ours.